well before that.
I think so too. I have seen movies where people have been walking and talking. Why did it become this thing on our show? Like we invented it.
Because there are TV shows where you stand and look at each other, and that's what you do. So let me just tell you, I'm on sets now where I read a script and it says walk and talk. And the director comes up to me and goes, "Hey, you know walk and talks, right? We're gonna start walking and we'll do the scene like this, and there's no, motivation to start walking, whatever. There's no reason to start. And by the way, the hallway ends right there. Where are we gonna go?" They design these shots to try to imitate you guys. Or our guy, or us, and there's no reason or way to even do it.
Well, we had a set with a lot of acreage. It was, I'm not sure if it still is, but it was at the time that it was built, the largest set ever built for television. So there were a lot of places to go, and Tommy made sure that there was a lot of glass on the set, so that shots had a lot of throw, that when you were standing in one hallway, you could see through the Roosevelt room, into another corridor, into the communications bullpen, into Toby's office. Which meant that there were days where these guys were the most expensive extras in Hollywood. Because we'd line up a shot, we need Toby to be sitting in his office during this shot that's 50 yards away from him. But Tommy really did all that. And it started with Sports Night, all of the movement, and all of the throw for the shots. He did all that because he understood, as I'm not putting myself down really, but he understood there's very little visual interest in what I write. That I write people talking in rooms.
I will say that is not true, but because when I read both those scripts, Sports Night and West Wing, on the same night, I remember reading them moving around, literally moving around, because I think everyone can attest to this. There's so much energy in your writing. It's just, I don't know anyone else who does it. It doesn't read like anyone else. And you just start to feel it as you're reading the words, and it didn't feel sedentary to me. There was motion to it.
It's almost like they block themselves in some sense. And in that, I once took an RSC Shakespeare workshop. And he had a bunch of actors do scenes from Neil Simon. And it would end up being people standing pretty much like the honeymooners in a line. And then they would do the scene. And then he would give them a scene from Othello or from some other play I'm not allowed to mention in here. And all of a sudden, the scene started to happen. And he writes so that people know who they're talking to. Sire, bad news, or whatever. And it created a movement because there was energy behind the line. And that's what your writing has.
I appreciate
it has that kind of, you know what you're doing, you have a reason to be there, and you have to actually physically demonstrate that. It has to express itself physically.
There was an idea that Kevin Falls had 5 times. He pitched this idea to me 5 times, really so important to him, it was sweet. And I love Kevin and would do anything for him, but I just couldn't do this. I couldn't come up. It was Halloween, and Kevin would always come in and remind me, just so you know, this episode 4, it's going to air the week of Halloween. Don't you think we should do a Halloween show? And I was thinking, I'm just not seeing it, like pumpkins and spider webs all over. I don't have the idea for it yet. I just don't. I'm sorry. And so Kevin sicked Dee Dee Myers on me. Season 2, I guess, or beginning of season 3, season 2. Dee Dee Myers was one of our consultants. Halloween was coming around again. Kevin was going to make his annual pitch, and so he had Dee Dee call me and say, and this is usually how ideas would begin to happen with the consultant. She said, "Listen, I just want to let you know that on Halloween, the White House press corps, they get to bring their kids to the White House to trick or treat." And I thought, all right, well, there's something in that. Like, what if Bartlett is just Scrooge about Halloween. Like, he doesn't get it. He thinks these kids are little thieves coming for candy, and he's gonna lecture them about, like, the true meaning of All Hallows Eve and Ichabod Crane. Cold opening, and that's all I need to start. If I can just hand these guys 8 pages tomorrow, I'll be happy. I don't have to know what's going to happen in the rest of the episode. But I thought that was a really good teaser. That was the first time that Kevin lit me up, and that day, that was September 10th, 2000. And I woke up the next morning prepared to write this Halloween thing, and the world changed.
Let me take this in a different direction.
Yeah.
I want to mention someone, and I want to ask Brad about this, actually. This is someone who couldn't be here tonight because she's with her 2 beautiful children and husband in Brooklyn, Janelle Maloney.
The reason why Harley never got together with the
And what Janelle is a great example of is how collaborative this kind of work is, and how synergistic it is, and the energies come from all sorts of different directions. When we're sitting in the writer's room, we kind of think it's up to us and we'll come up with it, or we'll just let Aaron come up with it. Maybe we can throw the log on his fire if we're lucky, maybe. But actors also generate energies in the writing of the show. Janelle is, I think, maybe a really singular example of this, because in the pilot, she was just hired as a day player to get through the pilot.
2 lines.
Yeah, 2 lines. And was not a series regular when we started off. She was just being hired episode to episode, but she was being hired episode to episode because she was inspiring Aaron every single time the camera was aimed at her. And Brad, you were in all those scenes. We were sitting there trying to think up stories. We were trying to think up Donna's stories.
It's true.
Which was not necessary because it was all in this relationship.
Yeah, it's true. Janelle, who had done a scene on Sports Night, so she was an actress Tommy and I knew about. She had started with 2 lines in the pilot, and then incredibly, when Tommy got done in the editing room of the pilot, it was 40 seconds short. It was the only episode out of 88. That would not be 15 minutes too long. It was 40 seconds short, so Tommy just needed me to write, and there's very little wiggle room with the network in terms of the length of the episode. He just asked me to write a little bit more. I thought, remember when Donna, I think is her name, said to Josh, "You're late for a meeting"? That really worked. That was good. Let's have them do something else together. Lawrence is right. Janelle was not a series regular during the first season. She was not in the main titles. She was simply hired as a guest actor in every episode. Janelle didn't quit her waitressing job until the 2nd season. She was still waiting tables during the first season because she just thought, not only will this be my last episode of the West Wing, it'll be the last episode of anything ever. I will never get paid to be an actress again. And it's just sort of an example of the Darwinism that goes on.
Well, it's one of the unintentional advantages, I think, actually, of the way you work, which is if you've planned out an entire season, as other showrunners do, which has its virtues.
I've heard.
You would never pick up on that, and you're sitting there watching dailies and seeing something work, which I think really kept things alive.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a very clear memory of, I didn't know Janelle at all, and it was a day player, and I forget exactly what that first shot was, but I remember they said cut, and I walked over, I think you were at the monitor, and I was like, I love her.
I remember that. Donna is the answer to why didn't Joey Lucas end? Because I was worried I was going to get killed. And I understand on other shows, Jimmy, that characters, date many people and everybody is constantly changing. She made me become a stand-in for David Kelly right now. But I had a hard time coupling people up.
Karis.